Okay, so we're going to go through the gross anatomy of many of the important digestive organs. We're going to start with the stomach. You can see the esophagus attached to the proximal end of the stomach, and you can see the duodenum attached to the distal end. Here's the stomach here. Okay, the gastroesophageal sphincter, aka lower esophageal sphincter, aka cardiac sphincter, is right here. We'll look at that again from the internal surface. The cardia region of the stomach is here next to the gastroesophageal sphincter. This dome-shaped area is the fundus. Here's the body of the stomach, and then here's the pyloric region. Okay, the lesser curvature again next to the liver is where the lesser omentum attaches. The greater curvature here, larger curvature, is where the greater omentum attaches. Okay, so we're going to remove the surface piece here so you can see the internal anatomy and those beautiful rugae that we have to increase surface area in the stomach. And here is the gastroesophageal sphincter from the internal view. You can see the longitudinal folds in the esophagus here as well. And then as we turn, you can see the much greater structural integrity and buildup of circular muscle here in the pyloric sphincter. So this is a much stronger valve than the gastroesophageal sphincter. That's why you have more common problems with reflux into the esophagus than you do with reflux into the duodenum. Okay, so moving on, we now have the duodenum here. Okay, and you can see the beautiful circular folds here. And remember, their Latin name is the plicae circularis. That's such a lovely word. Okay, we can see the hepatopancreatic sphincter's location right here. You see that little dot? That's actually the opening through the sphincter where the ducts can release their secretions. And the ducts that would be releasing secretions there are the main pancreatic duct and, turn it around, the bile duct, which you can see here in green. Okay, so both ducts are going to open through the influence of the digestive hormone cholecystokinin. Okay, and so we'll have simultaneous release of bile and pancreatic juice into the duodenum to help with the chemical digestion of all the different organic molecules that are in there in the food material. Okay, as we turn the model around again, we can see the different regions of the pancreas. Here's the head of the pancreas, the body of the pancreas, and tucked up against the spleen, we have the tail of the pancreas. A couple of other structures you can see here. You can see different veins that are leading to the hepatic portal vein, which is right here. You can also see the celiac trunk here, one of the main arteries associated with the digestive organs, and the various branches of that artery. And you can see part of the superior mesenteric artery. And if we turn this around again, you can see where the superior mesenteric artery is branching to go through the mesentery to the various loops of the small intestine. You can also see that there's connections between the branches of the celiac trunk and the branches one of these branches of the superior mesenteric artery. So we do have anastomoses, arterial anastomoses here to help keep the blood supply even to all of these organs. Okay, as we move on, now we have a cutaway view of the liver, and we can see a little more detail on the structures of that are delivering bile to the small intestine. So these are the right and left hepatic ducts here. So they would be collecting the bile that would be draining from the different lobes of the liver. That they're going to lead to the common hepatic duct. And if bile was trickling in, it would travel down through the bile duct, which is this next section, until it got to the closed hepatopancreatic sphincter. Okay, then it would kind of just keep filling up this area and filling up this area until it got to this branch point, and then you have bile dripping in this direction. This area is full, so the bile is now going to start moving up through this section, which is the cystic duct. And that leads it to the gallbladder, and you can see the internal surface of the gallbladder here. It's muscular sac, and this is where the bile will be stored and concentrated. Again, you can see the main pancreatic duct here in the pancreas, and the head, body, and tail of the pancreas. You can also see the duodenum, the start of the jejunum. You can see the circular folds very nicely. And you can see part of the superior mesenteric artery as well. Okay, now let's move on to the liver. Okay, so we'll start with the anterior view of the liver as it would be in the body. Okay, so this is the right lobe of the liver and the left lobe of the liver. And you can see the gallbladder peeking out from the inferior border of the right lobe here. The falciform ligament, which we looked at on the cat, would be attached here, okay, and extending from the liver to the diaphragm. Okay, as we turn over, we can see some other lobes. This small lobe here next to the inferior vena cava is the caudate lobe, and you can see the hepatic veins draining into the inferior vena cava here. And then as we move here, you can see the quadrate lobe. Quad means four, and this one looks kind of like it's nicely four-sided. Okay, and this is right next to the gallbladder. Okay, now the kind of purplish vessel that you see here is the hepatic portal vein, and they're trying to show you in this very busy way that it branches pretty extensively to all the different lobes. The red is the hepatic artery. You can see it branching very extensively. You can also see the blue of the branches leading to the hepatic veins mixed in here as well. And then the green are all of the bile ducts that are collecting the bile and eventually making way to the common hepatic duct. And here's the cystic duct and a better view of the gallbladder than we had on the other side. You can also see here the ligamentum teres, or round ligament. Okay, and this is a remnant of the umbilical vein. And you can see actually another structure here. This was originally the ductus venosus that connected the umbilical vein through the liver to the inferior vena cava. And it's now the ligamentum venosum in the adult liver. A couple of those are extras, so I won't charge you for the bonus material. Okay, so same organ, the liver, right lobe, left lobe, gallbladder in green. Falciform ligament would be here. Here's the inferior vena cava. Caudate lobe, quadrate lobe next to the gallbladder, hepatic artery, hepatic portal vein, common hepatic duct, can't see much of it here, cystic duct leading to the gallbladder. This would be the bile duct here. Okay, I usually show the ducts on this model, which I went over earlier because I think you can see it all much nicer, but I just wanted to make sure I went through it on these as well as you're looking at them. Okay, now I'm not going to go through the small intestine again because I think you could see it much better on the other model that we were looking at, but I am going to go through the large intestine again because you can see the sigmoid colon on this one where you couldn't on the other one. So here we are where the ileum would attach to the large intestine. So the ileocecal valve would be basically right in here. Here's the cecum. This is representing the appendix. It looks more like a cylinder here than a worm-like structure, so it's not really as accurate as on the other model. Okay, then we have the ascending colon, the right colic flexure, the transverse colon, the left colic flexure, the descending colon. Then we'll flip over here. Oh, still got the letter on it. Here's the sigmoid colon. Sigmoid means S-shaped. So you can see how it has that kind of S curve to it. Okay. And then we would have the rectum here. Okay, now I didn't point this out on the other model, even though you could see it there. But here is one of those Taenia coli, which is basically the remnant or one of the strips of the longitudinal layer of muscle. Okay, so the circular layer of muscle is complete in the entire large intestine, but the longitudinal layer is reduced to these few strips. Okay, so you can see one of them there. You can also see how there's little indentations and kind of a pouch-like appearance to the large intestine as a consequence. Okay, now the ascending and descending colons are both retroperitoneal. The transverse colon is intraperitoneal, and here's its mesocolon right here. The sigmoid colon is also intraperitoneal. They don't represent its mesocolon as nicely, but it would be right in here. Okay, so that's it. Thank you.